Politics over Malegaon blast twist has escalated after a witness's explosive claim. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has waded into this controversy, launching a frontal attack on the Congress. Yogi Adityanath demanded an apology from the Congress party for what he called was falsely framing BJP and RSS leaders in the 2008 Malegaon blast. He said that the Congress backed terrorists when in power and now is blocking schemes of citizen welfare. The BJP alleged that the Congress and its leaders, including Rahul Gandhi, had been trying to create fissures among Hindus with this talk of Hindu versus Hindutva. The BJP accused the Congress of conspiring against Hindus and constantly attacking Hindus on the issue of Hindutva. This comes a day after Malegaon blast witness in Mumbai court accused the Maharashtra anti-terror squad of torturing him and forcing him to name Yogi Adityanath, Indresh Kumar and other BJP and RSS leaders and members.
कांग्रेस ने इस देश के अंदर सर्वाधिक समय तक शासन किया, लेकिन शासन किस रूप में कर रही थी? आज आपने महाराष्ट्र एटीएस का एक बयान देखा होगा। उस समय कैसे भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ताओं को, नेताओं को, राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघ के नेताओं को, हिंदू नेताओं को कैसे लोग झूठे मुकदमों में फंसाने का कार्य कर रहे थे। आपने मालेगांव विस्फोट के मामले में देखा होगा। कांग्रेस की शरारत देश के खिलाफ एक अपराध है और कांग्रेस के लोगों को इसके लिए माफी मांगनी चाहिए देश की जनता से। आतंकवादियों को प्रेरित और पोषित करने वाली ये कांग्रेस देश के साथ कैसे खिलवाड़ कर रही है, ये किसी से छुपा हुआ नहीं है। पहले जब सत्ता में थे तब उन आतंकियों को प्रेरित और प्रोत्साहित करते थे और हिंदू संगठनों पर झूठे मुकदमे दर्ज करते थे, और आज जब सत्ता के बाहर हैं तो हर उस कार्य का विरोध करते हैं जो कार्य जनता के हित के लिए हो।
AIMIM chief and member of parliament Asaduddin Owaisi says even if all the Malegaon witnesses turn hostile, doesn't mean the case has collapsed. Despite the vehicle, the motorcycle that was used for the blast being registered in the name of member of parliament Sadhvi Pragya Singh Thakur.
मालेगांव में 2006 में खबरस्तान में बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट हुआ, 48 लोगों की मौत हुई। 2008 में यहाँ पर बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट हुआ मालेगांव में, दोबारा 8 लोगों की मौत हुई। अब ये तमाम विटनेस अगर हॉस्टाइल हो रहे हैं तो इसका मतलब ये है कि ये केस ख़त्म हो जाएगा। फिर किसने किया मालेगांव 2006 किसमें किया? 48 लोग मर गए, उनकी फैमिली को कौन जवाब देगा? मालेगांव 2008 में 8 लोग मौत हुई, कौन किया? क्या साध्वी प्रज्ञा ठाकुर के नाम पे वो मोटरसाइकिल है नहीं है?
The conspiracy is still unfolding. Speaks about the humongous nature of the conspiracy itself. Conspiracy against the Hindus. आप सोच के देखिए, साधु संतों को, मठों को, उत्तर प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री को बदनाम करने के लिए, भगवा को बदनाम करने के लिए किसी भी हद तक जाएंगे, झूठी बातें फैलाएंगे, लोगों को प्रताड़ित करके, टॉर्चर करके उनसे झूठी बातें कहलवाएंगे। इस प्रकार का यह साजिश था।
And India Today's Abhishek Mishra now joins me for more on this story. Abhishek, Malegaon blast in 2008, does it reverberate in Uttar Pradesh in 2021 ahead of elections in 22? Abhishek, give me a moment. I will try and reestablish this audio link with you. Abhishek is tracking developments on the story very closely. The Congress party has accused the Bharatiya Janata Party of timing the witness statement to impact elections in Uttar Pradesh. That is the Congress party's charge, or the charge of the Maha Vikas Aghadi in Maharashtra. The BJP has accused the Congress of being anti-Hindu. You heard both Yogi Adityanath, the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, and BJP spokesperson Dr. Sambit Patra, who's called the Malegaon blast investigations by the Maharashtra Anti-Terror Squad a conspiracy to tarnish Hindus. Let me now get you more details on this major twist in the Malegaon blast investigations, with yet another witness turning hostile. This is the 15th witness who so far turned hostile. The witness submitted before court that he was tortured, illegally confined, his family threatened so that he would implicate Yogi Adityanath, Indresh Kumar and other BJP and RSS leaders in the Malegaon blast case of 2008. The BJP has got a stick to beat the Congress with, alleging top Congress leaders, including two former home ministers, floated the Hindu terror or the saffron terror bogey. 29 September 2008. 6 people were killed and over 100 injured when an improvised explosive device strapped onto a motorcycle went off near a mosque in Malegaon, Maharashtra. Over a decade later, a witness in this case has dropped a bombshell. An office bearer of the Abhinav Bharat, the witness told the NIA court he was allegedly detained by the Maharashtra Anti-Terror Squad in 2008 and tortured. The witness claims that Maharashtra ATS officials wanted him to name 5 RSS leaders and members: Yogi Adityanath, Indresh Kumar, Asim Anand, Deodhar and Kakaji. He says he was made to sit on the floor and tortured. He said that his family members were tortured because he did not name RSS office bearers. The witness alleges his statement was recorded nearly a month after he was detained. The witness has now been declared hostile by prosecution, which claims he never mentioned anything about ATS exerting pressure before. But the sensational allegations have triggered a massive political storm.
It is an political conspiracy by the Congress leaders and UPA government. एजेंसियों को जोर जबरदस्ती मिसयूज करके और आरोपी बनाने की कोशिश की गई.
The BJP claims the entire Malegaon blast investigation was an attempt by the Congress party to give a clean chit to Pakistan.
ये दिखाता है कि किस प्रकार से कांग्रेस पार्टी पाकिस्तान को क्लीन चिट देने के लिए, इस्लामिस्ट आतंकवादियों को क्लीन चिट देने के लिए, हिंदुओं को बिना वजह बेगुनाह हिंदुओं को उसमें इम्प्लीकेट करने की पूरी साजिश रच रही थी.
The Congress insists it never linked religion to terror.
पिछले 7-8 सालों से केंद्रीय एजेंसियों का किस तरह से दुरुपयोग इस देश में भारतीय जनता पार्टी की, मोदी जी की सरकार कर रही है, पूरा देश जान रहा है और ये जग जाहिर है ये उसी का एक हिस्सा है.
देश के अंदर 5 स्टेट का जो है इलेक्शन होने जा रहा है, विधानसभा. ऐसे मौके पर किसी विटनेस को ला करके ये उससे बयान दिलवाना कि एटीएस ने हमारे ऊपर दबाव डाला था कि हम योगी आदित्य जी का नाम लें, या इसी तरह और भी जो है देश में जो आरएसएस के लोग हैं उनका नाम लें, ये मुझे सियासत लगती है, इसका सच्चाई से कोई ताल्लुक नहीं.
219 witnesses have been examined in the trial so far, where the accused are Bhopal BJP MP Sadhvi Pragya Singh Thakur and Lieutenant Colonel Prasad Shrikant Purohit and 5 others. Sadhvi Pragya Singh Thakur and Colonel Purohit have been granted bail. The trial is now being expedited with a special court exclusively designated to hear the case on a daily basis. With Vidya and Mustafa Sheikh in Mumbai, Bureau Report, India Today. One of the biggest seizures in the history of black money haul by the GST intelligence is linked to Kanpur's perfume trader Piyush Jain. The tax department finally revealed the big picture, the full picture of the massive cash, gold and silver haul in both Kanpur and the Kannauj raids on the perfume baron. Let's now take a look at the total seizures that have been made from the premises linked to the businessman Piyush Jain. Let's start step by step. 177.45 crore rupees in cash found in Kanpur. 19 crore in cash found at Kannauj. The total cash seizure, according to the GST intelligence wing, is 196.45 crore in cash. Apart from this, 2.23 kilograms of gold worth over 10 crore. That's what we've been told. 23 kilograms of gold worth 10 crore. Also seized is about 600 kilograms of sandalwood oil. This again is worth another 6 crore rupees. The primary investigation by the agencies has revealed that a firm linked to the Kanpur businessman Piyush Jain was sending raw material to make perfume to Dubai, and they were being paid in gold bars. Gold bars apparently were being smuggled into India. 1 kg gold bars. The investigators suspect that this was being done to avoid taxes and custom duty. Sources have also said that a similar modus operandi was allegedly used while sending raw material for perfume even to Singapore. The investigators now suspect that along with the raw material for perfume, other undeclared items were also being sent by the firm linked to Piyush Jain. The DGGI officials have also recovered 23 kilograms of gold with foreign markings. You see those images on your television screen from premises linked to Piyush Jain. And India Today's Samarth Srivastav now joins us live from Kannauj for more on the story. Samarth, you were tracking this very closely both in Kannauj and in Kanpur, and you were at the residence till very late at night when that final hole was being made and search and seizure reports were being prepared. Was it 1 o'clock at night or 3 o'clock at night? Bring us details of the total search and seizure and the alleged political links.
See, the raid ended in afternoon, but the entire seizure procedure took a lot of time and it ended around 2:55 a.m. last night. India Today team was there till the end. We also spoke to the son of Piyush Jain, who said that he has belief in judicial things. But what is important is the raid. Total of 19 crores in cash, more than 12 crores of gold, while this is important that the sandalwood oil has also been recovered, which costs around 6 crore. And when we spoke to the officers of intelligence unit of GST, they clearly told us that they were tracking Piyush Jain since last 2 months, and they also clarified that there is no such political link coming in so far in the entire raids or investigation conducted. Also, it is worth mentioning that the gold recovered also had marks showing that the gold biscuits were from Switzerland or Dubai. This is what we got from our GST sources. They also claimed that the other agencies, including the revenue department, have also swung into action for that particular thing, like from where he used to get the money. So it's very crucial because the entire residence, as you saw, is located in the narrow lanes of Kannauj city, and it is almost in a proper colony thing. So nobody around that particular area ever expected that such massive raid will happen. And also the officers of GST told India Today TV that it was their career best raid so far, because nobody expected this coming from the narrow lanes of Uttar Pradesh district of Kannauj. So it is massive, not just about Kannauj, it was also about Kanpur, because his major residence was in Kanpur, though his ancestral home was there in Kannauj, where his father used to reside. His father was also a chemist, but what we got to know from the locals around there, they claimed that he was not the Itr businessman, the Itr trader, the perfume trader. They claimed that he was also a chemist, though there were pan masalas which uses essence. So it came to light that he might be using that particular essence, but not for perfume. So, but the things recovered by the GST of intelligence unit, they were crucial, because such raids, while on the other hand, as you just saw, that political blame game is also gone.
Yes.
With Uttar Pradesh elections hardly 2 months away. BJP is blaming SP, SP is blaming BJP, but nothing concrete related to his political link has come out so far. Yes.
Samarth, keep tracking that story. I will come back to you for more. And that question now remains: was Piyush Jain a mask or the mastermind? The income tax raids on the perfume manufacturer Piyush Jain that yielded crores in cash has become the latest flashpoint in Uttar Pradesh. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday accused the Samajwadi Party of links to the scam. He called it Bhrashtachar Ka Itra. Akhilesh Yadav, of course, has rejected the charge. He's denied any links with Piyush Jain, saying that perhaps it was a clerical error or a computer error that made the BJP or the government raid the wrong Jain. Our UP Bureau gets us more.
The political temperature in poll-bound Uttar Pradesh is rising. And the latest flashpoint is this raid. This massive haul from Kanpur-based perfume trader has led to a fierce escalation in the war of words between BJP and the Samajwadi Party. BJP, right from the beginning, has been alleging a link between Samajwadi Party and the perfume baron. On Tuesday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who was in Kanpur to inaugurate the metro, took on Akhilesh Yadav head-on.
जो लोग पहले सरकार में थे, वो इस मानसिकता के साथ सरकार चलाते थे कि 5 साल के लिए लॉटरी लगी है, जितना हो सके यूपी को लूटते चलो, लूट लो.
The Prime Minister made several references to the raid on perfume baron to hammer his claim that SP is corrupt.
2017 से पहले भ्रष्टाचार का जो इत्र उन्होंने पूरे यूपी में छिड़क रखा था, वो फिर सबके सामने आ गया है.
Not only the Prime Minister, Home Minister Amit Shah, speaking in UP's Hardoi, lashed out at Akhilesh, saying in SP's dictionary, A stood for Atank, B for Bhatijawad and C for corruption.
ये समाजवादी पार्टी की ABCD ही उल्टी है. इनका है ए से मतलब है अपराध और आतंक, बी से मतलब है भाई भतीजावाद, सी से मतलब है करप्शन और डी से मतलब है दंगा.
Under attack, Akhilesh Yadav distanced himself from the raids.
जिसने समाजवादी इत्र बनाया था उसका नाम पुष्पराज जैन है और जिसके यहाँ छापा पड़ा है वो पीयूष जैन है. दोनों में कॉमन ये है कि एक ही मोहल्ले में रहने वाले, एक ही शहर के रहने वाले, एक ही तरह का कारोबार करते हैं. मुझे लगता है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी समाजवादियों पे छापा मारने के चक्कर में उनके कंप्यूटर ने जो नाम दिखाया वो दूसरा नाम दिखा दिया. गलती से वहां पहुंच गए जहां पर बीजेपी का खुद का पैसा रखा हुआ था.
He accused the BJP of trying to intimidate him ahead of assembly polls.
जैसे जैसे बीजेपी को डर होगा और दिल्ली वालों को जितना डर सताएगा उस तरह रेडें बढ़ेंगी. अब आप देखिए तमिलनाडु जहां पर चुनाव था, स्टैलिन के परिवार के ऊपर छापा पड़ा. जब कर्नाटक में चुनाव था, चाहे वो चुनाव किसी रूप में रहा हो, वहां पर कांग्रेस के जो नेता थे उनके यहाँ घर छापा पड़ा जाकर के, डी शिव कुमार जी के यहाँ पड़ा जाकर के. इसी तरह बंगाल में देखा कि जहां पर केंद्रीय एजेंसियों ने लगातार वहां के लोगों को परेशान और लोगों के ऊपर छापे मारे.
This multi-crore cash haul is becoming a talking point not just in UP but across the country. The man at the heart of the biggest cash haul, Piyush Jain, remains in 14-day police custody. With the Prime Minister himself raising the pitch on IT raids, the investigation is said to have major political ramifications. With Amit Bharadwaj in Kanpur, Bureau Report.
And shifting focus to state of war, Punjab. It's a big setback for Punjab Congress Chief Navjot Singh Sidhu. The Congress has decided against declaring a chief ministerial candidate ahead of elections. Navjot Singh Sidhu had been projecting himself as the Congress's chief ministerial candidate, but infighting remains the primary concern for the party. and the leadership in the national capital. The Congress is hesitating to declare a chief ministerial candidate. Congress wants to use Navjot Singh Sidhu to pull in the Jat Sikh votes. Chief Minister Charanjit Singh Channi would be the party's big Dalit face, and Sunil Jakhar is to be the Congress's Hindu face in the chief ministerial race. The Congress is trying to contest Punjab polls under the collective leadership of these three leaders and does not want anything to impact its chances in these elections. However, after the exit of Captain Amrinder Singh, factionalism has not ended in Punjab Congress, it's escalated. A section of Congress leaders are not very happy with Navjot Singh Sidhu's alleged tantrums and unilateral decision making. Sidhu is at loggerheads with cabinet ministers Rana Gurjeet Singh, with Tript Rajinder Singh Bajwa and Sukhjinder Singh Randhawa. Despite taking his resignation back as the Congress chief, Navjot Singh Sidhu keeps attacking Punjab Chief Minister and his party colleague Charanjit Singh Channi. Amidst the COVID scare, fresh curbs have kicked in the national capital. So schools are shut, spas, gyms, cinema halls, they've all been shut down for now, with Omicron scare and COVID cases rising. Long queues are being seen outside several metro stations. The buses are crowded. Now they've been told to operate at 50% capacity. Is India ready for the third wave? What are the stakes that in this tackling this massive mutant threat? This report has some of the answers.
Omicron cases spike across India. It is deja vu as states are back with strict curbs and night curfews to prevent holiday season explosion. Delhi enforced lockdown-like curbs, with eateries, bars, metros, trains and buses running at 50% capacity. Long queues of commuters were witnessed outside metro stations.
Was there 50% seating in the metro? No. What was going on? Full seating? No, it was full seating. It was full seating. Yes. Restriction नहीं था अभी अंदर. नहीं.
इतना ज़्यादा इफेक्ट हो रहा है बिजनेस पे कि हमारा जो कस्टमर अपना है वो अब टूट गया है. पहले तो जो था अब वैसी सेल नहीं आ रही है हमारे पास. तो ये हमारे लिए तो बहुत बड़ा झटका है.
Under the GRAP 1 yellow alert guidelines, markets and malls are allowed to open stores on an odd even basis only. In addition, restaurants and pubs have been restricted to 50% of seating capacity, and restaurants will be closed at 8 p.m. while bars can remain open till 10 p.m.
Section 144 remains in place across Maharashtra till December 31st. Hosting parties at beaches are banned. Night curfew is in place between 9 p.m. to 6 a.m.
मुंबई का पॉजिटिविटी रेट अभी 4% हो गया है, लेकिन 5 के आगे का पॉजिटिविटी रेट निश्चित तौर पर बहुत ही अलार्मिंग होता है. तो हमें रेस्ट्रिक्शंस के बारे में भी गंभीरता से सोचना पड़ेगा.
There are already restrictions on having any kind of party or gathering on the New Year's Eve in Mumbai, but at the same point of time Aditya Thackeray has said that if establishments are not following COVID norms, then they'll be sealed. In the coming days, as the cases are rising, there could be new or more restrictions in the city of Mumbai and Maharashtra.
Chandigarh is witnessing a huge surge in number of vaccinations as people get spooked by Omicron. A 500 rupee fine on unvaccinated and ban from public places.
नई गाइडलाइंस की वजह से हम टीका लगवाने आए हैं. सरकार ने जब से सख्ती दिखाई है तब से हमने दूसरी डोज लगवाने का मन बनाया.
Corona's new variant Omicron is spreading its tentacles very fast. Looking into this now, already the health authorities have given special instructions that after 1st January onwards in Chandigarh, no entry would be allowed if both the vaccination is not being done.
West Bengal recorded over 700 cases on Tuesday. It has set up 2 genome sequencing centers to detect Omicron.
West Bengal government has chosen to lift the night curfew that was there in terms of the restrictions, but it could be that after the 1st of Jan, the restrictions would again be in place, considering the fact that the cases are on the rise.
But Hyderabad has curiously relaxed bar timings till 1 a.m. on New Year and allowing New Year parties with precautions.
The government of Telangana has decided to allow pubs, bar, restaurant and events to remain operational till 1 a.m. on 31st night, while liquor outlets will also have extended hour and they'll close only after midnight.
Is India ready to face the possible third wave? Bureau Report, India Today.
So after 212 days, the financial capital has reported more than 1,000 new coronavirus cases. The Omicron count, of course, is 167 across Maharashtra, with 72 people succeeding in beating the infection. The city reported 1,377 new cases and 1 death on Tuesday, a 70% jump in its tally on Monday. Now, with this surge, active cases in the city have soared past the 7,000 mark. Maharashtra's tally also saw a quick uptake owing to a surge in Mumbai. The state reported 2,172 new cases. Maharashtra now has over 14,000 active cases of COVID-19.
जिथे जिथे पब्लिक प्लेस आहे 31 तारखेसाठी ते बंद राहतील. कुठेही पब्लिक प्लेसमध्ये आपण पार्टीज किंवा कुठेही काही मोठं सेलिब्रेशन आपण अलाउ करणार नाहीये. सगळे रेस्टॉरंट जे आहेत किंवा इतर ठिकाणी नाईट कर्फ्यू तर लागलेलाच आहे, पण तिथे देखील काळजी घेणं गरजेचं आहे. जे कायदे आपण आता किंवा निर्बंध लावलेले आहेत 25% असतील किंवा 50% असतील, ते जर कुठच्याही एस्टॅब्लिशमेंटने पाळले नाहीत, आम्ही फ्लाइंग स्पॉट्स असतील, काही काही ठिकाणी सीसीटीव्ही फुटेज पण मागवणार आहोत, सीसीटीव्हीचं फुटेज पाळले नाहीत तर तिथे सील केले जातील आणि पुढचे काही महिने ते सील केले जातील. कडकच्या कडक कारवाई आम्ही करू.
And India Today's Mustafa Sheikh now joins us for more from Mumbai. I have Shreya Chatterjee joining me from the national capital. Mustafa, what explains this sudden spike in Mumbai and what steps are being taken on ground?
Well, according to agencies, there are multiple reasons. One is the spread of Omicron. The second is high testing. About 51,000 testing happening in Mumbai. The testing rates are high. So behind me at the CST area, we should see a traffic in the evening. Maybe in the coming days, that will not be the scenario, because be the health minister, be it the environment minister, all are warning about restrictions, because Mumbai's positivity rate, Maharashtra's cases are currently rising. Though there are restrictions in place for the New Year's Eve, but still the cases are rising at a pace with which there are concerns of another wave being faced by Mumbai. So there are more restrictions likely in Mumbai in the coming days. If the cases continue to rise, the restrictions will be on the lines of Delhi, but we'll have to wait and see how this entire progress in the cases are affecting the admissions at the hospital and the mortality rate. Back to you.
Okay. I also have Shreya joining me on the broadcast. Shreya, in Delhi, several steps have been taken given the yellow alert. Are people complaining, calling this overreaction, or is there appreciation that this is one way of beating a surge, or is this just postponing the surge?
Well, you know, Gaurav, on the ground, we do see that people somewhere down the line are not really happy with the restrictions that have been put in place, and that's partially because of the fact that it's the festive season on the round. Right now, I'm in CP, which is the heart of Delhi, so far as people coming in and going is concerned. And the scenario here is not very different. We still see people coming out, still see people flouting norms at a time that there is a yellow alert that has already been issued by the Chief Minister here at the National Capital with GRAP in place. We do know that if the positivity rate touches 1, we will see another step going forward where more rigid restrictions would be put in place. As we talk, due to yellow alert, the theatres have already been shut down. The markets and non-essential shops are operating at odd and even rate. Despite that, the people on the ground, we do not really see that they're very happy with the scenario. Is why they're still coming out in numbers. They're still flouting COVID protocols. At least that's what the reality is on the ground. We can only hope that people understand the seriousness of the situation and start following the regulations that have been put in place.
Shreya, for the moment, many thanks. With less than a week to go before vaccination drive opens for children or youth between 15 and 18 in India, preparations are all in full swing across states. From Maharashtra to Tamil Nadu to the national capital, here is how states are gearing up to administer doses to our teenagers.
India is gearing up to vaccinate its teenagers. The vaccination drive for 15 to 18 years old will start on 3rd January. They can only be administered the Covaxin shot. The beneficiaries will have to book their slot on CoWIN website. With less than 1 week to go, all states in India are preparing to vaccinate its young population, especially in view of the anticipated surge in Omicron infections. In Delhi, the eligible children will be vaccinated at the existing centres. They will be administered jabs at government schools and government and private hospitals. In Maharashtra, the number of eligible teenagers for the vaccine is being ascertained. 3.7% of the state's population is likely to be vaccinated. The state of Tamil Nadu is also gearing up to inoculate 33.2 lakh children. Assam's state departments and district administration are planning to administer vaccines to 18.25 lakh teenagers. And in Haryana, nearly 16 lakh eligible children will receive their first jab. The state government is collecting data on all school-going children. Children who were vaccinated in the trial phase have received their vaccine certificates.
जो पहला डोज लिया तब मुझे थोड़ा सा तो डर लग रहा था कि वैक्सीन लेने के बाद क्या होगा, क्योंकि ट्रायल में ले रहे थे, बट वैक्सीन लेने के बाद कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स नहीं आए हमें और कुछ भी जो हमें था वो कुछ हुआ नहीं हमें।
ये घोषणा जो प्रधानमंत्री जी ने की है वो उसके बैकड्रॉप में मैं उन सभी लोगों को कॉन्ग्रेचुलेट करना चाहूँगा जो बच्चों ने और उनके पेरेंट्स ने ये वैक्सीन की ट्रायल लेने की हिम्मत की और आज उनकी हिम्मत की भरोसे ही ये ट्रायल सक्सेसफुल होने के बाद बाकी सभी बच्चों के लिए ये वैक्सीन ओपन की जा रही है।
With Omicron cases on the rise, India is leaving nothing to chance by opening up vaccination to the younger population. Bureau Report, India Today.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has a new spanking Mercedes in his security detail. The new supercar can protect its passengers from fire and bullets. The car, of course, comes at a whopping price of 12 crore rupees. Here is all that you need to know about the Prime Minister's new ride, the controversy, and sources in the Prime Minister's office saying that the cost is less than 1/3 of what is being claimed.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has a new member in his cavalcade. The Special Protection Group has upgraded Prime Minister's ride to a super safe Mercedes car. Prime Minister Modi's Mercedes Maybach S650 Guard comes at a price of 12 crore rupees. The car comes with a heavy underbody armor to protect its passengers. It can withstand hardened steel core bullets even from AK-47 rifle. And it has the capacity to protect its passengers from a blast of 15 kilo TNT at a distance of 2 meters. To make it super safe, the car's fuel tank is coated with a special sealant, which covers holes to prevent fire from bullet shots. Powered by a 6-litre twin-turbo V12 engine, the Maybach S650 Guard can race up to 160 kilometers per hour. The car can also guard its passengers from a gas attack, as the cabin has separate source for air supply. It also has multiple airbags and fire extinguishing systems. The supercar comes with super resistant tires as well. They can function even if they get punctured. The supercar will act as a super armor for the Prime Minister of world's largest democracy. Bureau Report, India Today.
So after this huge controversy about the cost of the car, sources in the Prime Minister's office have said that the cost of the car is 1/3 of the price quoted in media. Sources have also said that it is an SPG security detail decision that every 6 years The vehicles used by the SPG protectees are changed. The previous car had been used for 8 years already. An audit on the subject had also pointed out that using the old car could well compromise the life of the protectee. The new cars are not an upgrade but a routine replacement. BMW has stopped making the model which was used earlier. The security detail purchases are based on threat perception of the protectee, and the decision is made by the SPG and not in consultation with the protectee. PMO sources also said, unlike the current protectee, who has not given any preference on what car he wanted to use, they claimed Sonia Gandhi in the past had used the Range Rovers that were actually procured for then Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh.